In his book, The Six Glorious Epochs, he's also justified rape of Muslim women, and these are things that I think we should clear for the audience as well.
And he says, I don't think of the cow as a worship-worthy animal, and that might raise heckles even today when people talk about that. He says it's a very useful animal. You can protect it, but to worship it is, an insult both to humanity and divinity. Was his views.
And there have been certain criticisms and misconceptions that people have about him, and I'd like for you to maybe clear them. There's also certain allegations where they say that he did advocate at times violence against Muslims, and in his book, The Six Glorious Epochs, he's also justified rape of Muslim women, and these are things that I think we should clear for the audience as well.
I think that since I kind of understand Marathi and managed to make the original is in Marathi.
Okay.
So there he actually says, he actually it's blasphemous today in Maharashtra to castigate Chhatrapati Shivaji, but he does that in his book, The Six Glorious Epochs. He says, we were treating our opponent with all the unsaid, unwritten codes, ethics of warfare. And that was always there. I mean, even the Rajputs and others, he calls it Sadgun Vikriti, where, a righteous man, it's actually his defect to think that your opponent is also going to subscribe to those rules. So right from the Mahabharata days and all, we know it was not written anywhere, but after sunset, we will not fight. Nihathe pe war nahi karenge. If the person is unarmed, or on women, on children and places of worship, we will not attack. And there's some code of, it's not mentioned anywhere, the Geneva Convention or something, but it was all followed by all players. Now, the biggest, what could I say? The fault with a lot of Indian rulers, of the Hindu rulers of that time, they didn't realize that the invaders who came from the Middle East, they didn't subscribe to these rules. So unilaterally, if I am subscribing to a club rule which you are not, then who's the loser? There it's, you're going to attack my place of worship, you're going to take away my women and children and everything. So in that context, Savarkar says, if at all we had also done the same and paid the enemy in the same coin, maybe a lot of barbarities would have been prevented. Because they thought this is a spineless community where you can do anything, but they will still subscribe to these unsaid ethics of warfare. And in the process, who will benefit? It was more of a retrospective assessment, not that today you please go and start raping women of other communities and all that. He said, if those people had once at least thought that whichever language the enemy understands, I need to talk in the same language. If I'm just waving my white handkerchief and they are not subscribing to that, you're going to be the loser ultimately. And he says, I don't think of the cow as a worship-worthy animal, and that might raise heckles even today when people talk about that. He says it's a very useful animal. You can protect it, but to worship it is, an insult both to humanity and divinity. Was his views. If you're using the cow as a ploy to subjugate or humiliate someone's feelings, and that should be stopped. So this man had very, very radical views, I think far ahead of his times, very scientific, very logical. That's why never got accepted even in his times. All his meetings would be disrupted by Orthodox Hindus themselves. There were so many attempts to kill him, stone him while he was addressing a meeting and so on. So 100 years later, when we are still talking of lynch mobs and cow vigilantes and all of that. Imagine 100 years back, someone saying, I don't think of the cow as a worship-worthy animal. What sort of backlash it would have, I think Savarkar, if you actually read and understand him, he'll be quite the icon for liberal thought, where you look at progressive, scientific, logical thinking and open to reassessment. He would say, if you want to fight me intellectually, I'm more than open to it. Give me a convincing argument. It has to be logical. It has to be something that is based on sound principles. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to accept. But if you say my feelings are hurt, I don't know what sort of an argument that is.
To our viewers, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you found it insightful, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, share this with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you very soon. Lots of love. Bye.